Welcome back. State Representative Diego Bernal, also one of our panelists. He represents District 123. He's the vice chairman of the House Committee on Public Education, raised in San Antonio, went to Thomas Jefferson High School. We have a couple of mighty Mustangs on this panel. So, Diego, your reaction to what you've heard so far when you hear a teacher and a student talk about their concerns about going back into the classroom?
It's frustrating. And of course, I worry about them. I'm a dad. I've got a daughter who's enrolled to go to an SAISD school this year. And so we worried about the same thing, but it's frustrating because we've watched the state go back and forth and change its mind and sort of bungle this. And now we don't know exactly what's supposed to happen or how it's supposed to work. And we're looking ahead to 8 weeks, but I suspect that if things don't change around the state, that we'll get new guidance to go after that. And as a parent, if you're an educator, if you're a student, it's hard to keep track of it. But on top of that, it feels like there's a requirement that we set our sights on something and then have to change it at the last minute. And what we lose in that is uniformity. So as you mentioned before, we can't have a regional approach to health and safety. It's got to be done district by district, which sounds smart, except for the fact that within our own city, there are 17 school districts right up against each other. Not having a regional approach makes no sense. And then on top of that, the idea that in situations now where Pedro and Brian are trying to figure out how to bring teachers into the building, there's not uniformity there. So what's happening in Northside, what's happening in SAISD, what's happening in East Central are all different from one another. That breeds zero confidence among teachers and parents as well. So I think we need to get a better handle on this, but the problem for a lot of us and people in my situation is that we're spectators. We're watching the governor decide, but we're not at the table pulling levers or pushing buttons ourselves. We're reduced to having to advocate on behalf of the people we represent, but not make decisions. And that's been difficult, both as a lawmaker, but even more so as someone who cares about teachers and has a student himself.
Let's hear from the governor. We know we've heard a lot of back and forth over the last couple of weeks trying to clarify the stance on who will be making that final decision on who goes back to school. I believe we have a soundbite from Governor Greg Abbott. Let's take a look at that.
The bottom line is the people who know best about what both the needs are in their school district, as well as the capabilities of providing a safe learning environment, the people who know best about that are the local school officials. Extremely important. Local school officials have access to information provided to them by local public health authorities. And local school districts can base their decisions about when and how to open their schools on the advice of those local public health authorities.
Unfortunately, this already very complicated issue has in some ways gotten political. So, Mr. Martinez, Superintendent of SAISD, I want to pose this question to you because at the end of the day, now we know that it is up to school districts to make that call on returning to in-person learning. What resources are you using to make that decision? What data are you looking at? I know we've heard you say decisions need to be data-driven before. So how are you making that decision?
So the first thing is we can't have arbitrary dates. We can't say, well, children will come in person in a certain week. It has to be driven by medical data. So we're using the same medical data that San Antonio Metro Health is using. Dr. Wu is actually working with her on a daily basis. And so we have released a similar level system as the city with red, yellow, green, and then we added a blue, which is really what could happen if there's a breakthrough and if there's a vaccine. And really in the red right now, which is where we're at right now, and I agree with both Alejo and Melina, right now in the red, we don't want to have children coming into our schools. We want to make sure that our buildings are ready, that our classrooms are ready, that we have all of our procedures in place, that our students, our parents understand them, our teachers understand them. And trust me, and that is 1,000 pieces of information we're managing through, especially in a district where we have 100 buildings, we have over 3,200 classrooms. And so that's number one, is using the medical data. The other thing is, giving us the time so that we can reduce the anxiety. For valid reasons, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety in our community, whether it's our teachers, our students, or our parents. And so one of the things that we need to do as school districts is be able to bring in our teachers, our parents, our students, and say, here's all of our procedures, here's what we're doing. and give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. If we're not ready, let's just say that we're not ready. So for example, we're having on a voluntary basis, teachers are coming in starting on the first day of school next week. It's all voluntary. 40% are coming in, and they're going to be our safety committee. And every single school, they will tell us, because we have a 50-page document, but here's the thing. Until teachers actually test out those procedures, they'll tell us whether it's realistic for a 3 or 4-year-old or a 16-year-old to be able to implement those kind of procedures. They got to give us opinions on the PPE, on the equipment that we're having. And so again, it has to be with that kind of data. When we go into the yellow, one of the things we said is that we will allow children to come in, but again, it'll be up to 25%. It'll be gradual. It'll be 4 to 6 children per classroom. It might be 1 day a week. It might be 2 days a week. Even then, I want our students and parents to come into the schools and see what we're doing. And I want them to feel comfortable. And I want any child, whether it's Alejo or anybody else who wants to stay remote, we want them to stay remote all semester and all year. And then really what I want to learn, Alejo and Melina, is how do we make it better for students? Because we know that remote learning works for some students, but not for all. So how do we do that? One of the frustrations that our teachers had during the spring break is that when the students were doing remote, and this is probably tying to Alejo's data, the survey that they saw, is they couldn't help the students when they were struggling because our buildings were closed. They couldn't bring them in person. And so in the yellow, we can start doing that gradually and slowly. When we get into the green zone, and that's a very high bar, in order to get in the green zone, you have to have doubling time for cases has to be significantly long. Positivity testing has to be 5%. We haven't been at 5%, folks, since May. May was the last time we were down at 5%. We're at 14% right now. The state is over 20%. We're a long way from that. And we also have to have a downward trend in cases. We're starting to see a plateauing, but it has to be downward for many, many days, at least 2 to 3 weeks. And so we're far away from that. But what we want to do, even when we get into the green zone, we want to make sure our teachers are ready. We want to make sure that any children that are coming in, they are ready, that our parents are ready. This will be a very gradual process. It has to be step by step, has to be driven by science, has to be driven by people's legitimate fears and anxieties being reduced. And if we can't do that, then we got to wait. We have to wait. And so that's the challenge, but it's going to take all of us. And it isn't a straightforward answer. You know, when people say, well, stay remote the whole time, that's not driven by science. Bring everybody in all at once. That's not driven by science. We have to make sure our decisions are driven by science.
Great. All right. And you talked about data, and you talked about the anxiety for students and teachers and parents. Dr. Mike Villarreal has some new survey statistics that he's going to share with us after the break.